And so just a couple of highlights, and we're going to get into more of this in just a few minutes. But he said the border's been broken for far too long, which I underline that because for the last 3 years, what we've heard is that the border is secured. He has said it. His press secretary has said it. The vice president has said it, who he appointed the border czar, and his Homeland Security secretary has said over and over again that they believe the border is secure. Today, he says the border has been unsecure, broken for far too long. He went on to blame the former president for the killing of this bill. He said this bill would make the border safer, secure, and more secure and fair. It would also give him the funding he's asked for repeatedly. He went on to bash not just Donald Trump, but MAGA Republicans. If you remember, and I'm going to get political because they did, that one of the turning points that went negative on Hillary Clinton when she ran against Donald Trump and lost the election was when she talked about Trump supporters being a basket full of deplorables. Well, he said that they were toxic. This toxic politics has got to end, and that the MAGA Republicans were behind all of this, and that the world is going to know, and this is the part of it that I underlined 3 times, the president is now going to shift and say that the country is going to know that the border is not secure because of Donald Trump. That's a big hill for this president to climb with anyone, with the difference in the number of border crossings we had, because you remember former President Trump, warts and all, whether you like the way he did it or don't like the way he did it, former President Trump and the border crossings during his administration, because he has a resume on it, versus what we've seen in the last 3 years. So this is what we're going to talk more about here in a few moments, but that's just the basic wrap of what we've heard. If you're just jumping in, you'll hear more words from the president as we continue this coverage right now. Let's get it over to you. A little bit of this, the president of the United States speaking about the border bill, and it was, if I'm going to be honest, it was a lot like a campaign speech, and you have to forget everything you've seen at the border for the past 3 years to buy a lot of what was said. This was a direct attack on Donald Trump. It sounded a lot like a political debate, more so than going after the Congress. He's telling the Congress they have to have courage and so he made Donald Trump the villain in all of this. Whether you believe that Donald Trump is a villain in this or not, I can tell you this. I know a lot of the people he is talking about on the Republican side of things, and I can tell you something. They do not shy away from their disagreements when the disagreements they believe are justified. And I can tell you these are Republican House members who disagree with each other at times, who disagree with their party at times, and who disagree with their leadership at times. And when that happens, they stand their ground and they say, this is how I feel about this and this is why. To call them cowards, and that's basically what the president did, I think he is setting himself up for a fight that I don't think he wants. If he is trying to get this thing passed, going out and saying, stop being cowards, he didn't use that word, but he talked about finally having some courage and stand up to Donald Trump. But let's get back to the meat of what he wants. This is the president speaking a few moments ago and said, we need these reforms.
But the reforms in this bill are essential for making our border more orderly, more humane, and more secure. That's why the Border Patrol Union, which, by the way, endorsed Donald Trump in the 2020 election, endorses this bill. These are the people whose job it is to secure the border every single solitary day. They don't just show up for photo ops like some members of Congress. They're there to do their job. This is the risk, the thing many of them risk their lives doing every single day.
So this is what's fascinating to me about this. The Border Patrol Union, the very same Border Patrol Union now that he says he's best friends with that support this bill. And I have no idea why Brandon Judd or what the reasons are that Brandon Judd, and I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not calling anybody wrong yet. But the reason why I don't know why Brandon Judd and the Border Patrol Association, why they are supporting this. I don't know what in it that they like that they decided to throw their support behind it. And I'd be anxious to talk with him. I'd love to have a conversation. We're trying to get him on the air to explain what parts of this he believes are good and why he would support it. But this is the same organization that for the past 3 years have just crushed the Biden administration and their handling of the border. Now, all of a sudden, the president stands up and says, these guys are great. They do a hard work every day. Brandon Judd has been crushing the border policies of this administration for 3 straight years. And that's just a fact. Now, can he change his mind? Absolutely. If he believes this is a step in the right direction and the right direction to go, I'm certainly not going to tell him he's wrong. I would love to hear his reasons behind it. But I wonder with what the president has done here, if he's setting up, I understand he wants to beat Donald Trump. If Donald Trump, who looks like he's going to become the nominee, it isn't official, but there's a lot of work to be done by Nikki Haley if she's going to win the nomination. But if Donald Trump becomes the nominee, the problem, and here's a problem for both of them, is that for the first time in my lifetime, you're going to have two people with the same resume, meaning you are going to have 4 years of Joe Biden and 4 years of Donald Trump. And if President Biden is going to try to sell to the American people, and this is his words, not mine, that he's going to take his argument to the American people. If this bill doesn't pass, they're going to know why. And he said that the American people are going to know that the border is not secure because of Donald Trump. That's what he said. So I want you to hear more of his words. This is him saying that.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass this bill, get it to my desk immediately. But if the bill fails, I want to be absolutely clear about something. The American people are going to know why it failed. I'll be taking this issue to the country. And the voters are going to know that it's not just a moment. Just at the moment, we're going to secure the border and fund these other programs. Trump and the MAGA Republicans said no because they're afraid of Donald Trump.
That's a big hill to climb. No matter where you are on this bill itself, if this president goes out to the American people when millions of people have come in, and I'm not talking just in my party. He's never going to sell it to my party. But I'm going to go back down the list. The very liberal voters in Chicago want to wipe out their sanctuary city status, watching migrants sleep on the floors of police precincts. Washington, D.C., the state of Massachusetts governor begging citizens to take migrants into their homes. The city of New York and their mayor sounding a lot like the governor of Texas and what they can and cannot do in that city. They were decreasing police overtime, closing schools. We've seen crime go up in that city. The citizens are frustrated. The very liberal governor of New York, who at one time said that they are a sanctuary state and welcoming to everyone, has reversed her policy on this. So I'm not talking about this president trying to sell to Republicans that the idea that the unsecured border, the broken border, is the fault of Donald Trump. He's going to have to try to sell that to his side of the aisle because it is those very sanctuary cities. Denver, Colorado, another city not known as a conservative stronghold, is turning away migrants with the winter weather that is there right now. They don't have room for them. It's happening all over the country. This is a national problem. I understand that it's an election year, and I certainly don't fault any president for using the bully pulpit. That's exactly what an incumbent is supposed to do. Use the bully pulpit to tell the American people why they deserve to be reelected. But if he's going to go to the American people and say the border is not secure because of Donald Trump, he's got a long way to go with his own party. They are the ones that are frustrated. Go and listen and go and read. Go look up the stories and the voters in Chicago. This is a very liberal city, and they want to wipe out that sanctuary city status. They want to get rid of it. New York's governor has reversed her position, at least in speaking. She has also said we want to be a place of sanctuary. They just said they're full. We are over capacity. You cannot lay that at the feet of Donald Trump. This president is now trying to sell the narrative in his 4th year of the presidency that he has been a border hawk and has been begging to fix the border for 4 years. There's no way he's going to sell that narrative to the American people. That's just my opinion on it. Now, whether or not this piece of legislation can be fixed, I don't have the answer to that. We just had Congressman Andy Biggs on the show. Congressman Biggs listed the number of reasons why this is flawed beyond repair, and he doesn't believe that it can be repaired. But will something get done? The Senate is saying no way Republicans are voting for this. So are they going to go back to the drawing board and try to get something that can be passed? Or, and let me give you the or in a moment. In a moment, I'll give you the or. Are they going to work on something that will pass that the Republicans will vote for?
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.